Chapter 14. They had agreed to meet at the edge of the driveway, but Claire still felt an icy clench in her gut when she saw Kyle's truck rolling up with a sputtering hum. He parked, hopped out, and launched into car talk like words alone could scrub the tension from the air. "Your Monco wouldn't survive 10 miles of these back roads," he said, giving his girlfriend a once-over. "Fuel pump's about ready to drop, engine's knocking, and I bet the transmission's shot, too." Claire dragged her duffel bag into the truck bed. "Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate the free diagnosis." "Better than free," he answered. "I'm your Uber, too." Autumn maneuvered her wheelchair along the snow-packed sidewalk. She typed quickly on the speech device perched in her lap, then a flat, mechanical voice said, "Road, trip, yay, exclamation, point." The two women laughed, and Claire felt a wave of tension ease from her shoulders. She paused to help her friend, lifting the front wheels over a small, icy dip. "We're as sure as we can be," she said, turning her face to avoid Kyle's curious glance. "Here." Kyle attempted to help fold the wheelchair so it would fit, though he nearly jammed the mechanism. He mumbled a curse and tried again. She found herself biting back in patience. At least he was trying, and that was more than he had done in a long time. Autumn struggled to hoist herself into the truck, but when she couldn't, Claire lifted her onto the seat and reached across her lap to buckle the seatbelt. As the buckle clicked, she felt Autumn's shallow, weakened breath against the nape of her neck. Once they were all inside, she secured the door. The cab felt cramped. Autumn's device lay propped between her and Kyle, while Claire pressed against the passenger door, unable to fit in the middle seat. The engine roared to life, filling the silence as Kyle put the truck in gear. Snow crunched beneath the tires, and the drive began. The hush that had lingered for weeks settled over the three of them, thick, heavy, and wordless, until Kyle shattered it with a blunt question. "Why are we doing this? Seriously, Claire, your father is... your father. Since when do you trust anything he does?" Claire fiddled with her seatbelt, refusing to meet his gaze. "It's not about trusting him. It's about the fact that doctors have done nothing, Kyle. 2 years of cruel indifference, dead ends, shrugs." Kyle gripped the steering wheel tighter. "So you'd rather try a literal ritual? This is stupid." She felt her frustration snap. She turned on him, voice raw. "You think I haven't tried everything else? If Autumn's health declines half as much as it has in the last 2 years, she'll be dead before her 24th birthday. That's the truth, and she knows it. She used to box and run long distance. Now she's mostly bedridden, only 23 hours a day. She can't stand, not even with support. I have made so many phone calls, crying, begging, pleading, driving to doctors' offices in person, lugging around stacks of medical documentation, and still, she hasn't seen a single neurologist or pain specialist. They tell us it might be another year just to get in, and every new person has some new half-baked idea. You don't think we've tried Mayo Clinic or any of the so-called magic bullets out there? We have, Kyle, for 2 years. The only reason we got imaging is because we went out of network to talk to a nurse practitioner. After 4 minutes of conversation, she handed us a referral for the imaging that doctors kept insisting should wait for the specialist. Her fucking legs don't work, and she has constant, intense, burning pain in her spine, and they don't feel comfortable saying, 'Maybe we should look at her spine.' Now we get $12,000 bills in the mail for that imaging. Autumn is amazing, and I love her, and she deserves to live the best and longest life she can, because Lord knows plenty of evil motherfuckers get to live, and it isn't fucking fair." Claire slammed her closed fist into the hard metal of the truck's interior door. She knew it wouldn't break the truck and didn't care if it broke her hand. She stared forward and through gritted teeth growled, "So, do I actually believe a holy ritual might help her?" "Yes, because at this point, the normal system has failed us so completely that magic is all we have left. The doctors and insurance companies have been less than useful. They've drained us of everything they could, and they'll consume us until we're dead, and they've gotten every bit of hope drained out without giving a goddamn thing in return besides pain and suffering." Silence seized the truck's cab once more. Kyle looked stunned, lips parted, as if unsure whether to respond. Autumn's eyes shone as she reached out, a shaky but comforting hand resting on Claire's shoulder. Outside, snow-laced pines blurred past. After a weighty pause, Kyle said quietly, I'm sorry. To both of you." Claire's chest rose in a fury of unsteady waves. "Something will work out. We can never give up," she said, voice low. She turned her gaze back to the passenger window, staring out at a world that had turned cold and unfeeling. A hiss of static from the radio startled them. Kyle slapped the knob, but it didn't help. He let out a short sigh, turning it off entirely. Must be these hills, he muttered. Autumn typed something quickly. The device spoke. The Watchers, Arcana Hermetica, Father might have real knowledge. Kyle half laughed. Watchers? Hermetica? You hear how that sounds? But he caught the expression on his girlfriend's face and paled a bit. I'm not saying your father isn't dangerous or that something weird isn't happening. I'm just saying we're trusting the guy who basically thinks the devil and dark angels roam your living room because God's pissed about gay marriage and diversity programs. He's wrong about a lot of things, Kyle, but he's seen a lot of things too, Claire said. Her voice dropped. He's seen them. Same as me. Maybe not the same way, but it's real. A sudden hole in the road made the truck jolt. Autumn gripped the door handle, wincing. Outside, the terrain turned rough, bare trees, patches of ice, and half-frozen mud stretching ahead. Kyle maneuvered carefully, cursing under his breath. Autumn shifted her focus to him, tapping. When I was with my old caretaker, she made me do bad things for a fix, left me half dead with a dealer. That's when I started reading about magic and other things. It's the closest I've ever come to feeling powerful, except for the time I beat my ex-boyfriend's ass after he hit me. She giggled, shaking her arms excitedly, but then a pained expression crossed her face. She coughed, hunching over with a strain. Oh! Kyle's mouth hung open a second too long. He looked like he wanted to say something comforting, but it died in his throat. Okay, he managed. But this father of yours, Claire, he's the same man who used to call you all sorts of names just for existing, right? She closed her eyes. A half-buried memory. Her father towering in the living room, slamming a Bible on the table, shouting about watchers and devils, blaming his daughter and wife's sins for Yelena's death. She inhaled through her nose, forcing the recollection aside. Yeah, that's him. But he's always known about these supernatural things. He didn't pull it out of nowhere. Kyle hit the brakes for a turn, letting the truck slow. So, we're walking straight into the arms of a guy who calls himself a holy warrior, brandishes a shotgun, and hates most of the world. No wonder I think we should turn back and find actual medical professional. Claire's chest tightened and her voice dropped to a shaky whisper. We have tried, Kyle, and we keep hitting walls. This also doesn't mean we can't keep trying. Meanwhile, I see things in the corners of the house. Autumn has gotten, well, there have been weird incidents, and it feels like something supernatural is feeding on her, on us. She shook her head. Dad's ritual is the only crack in this darkness I've got left. Autumn typed. He's a fanatic, but might be a warrior, too. Chaos and faith. Each side can hold real power. I say we see it through. She then placed the device on her lap, folded her hands atop, and looked forward with certainty. Kyle exhaled through his nose. Fine, he said. He drummed his fingers on the wheel. Just so you know, I'm not letting that psycho father of yours hurt either of you. If he tries, I swear I'll take him out. Claire couldn't help a short laugh. Sure, Kyle. We'll add that to our plan. She paused, a pang of guilt rippling through her. But thanks for driving, for being here. I appreciate it so much. Kyle glanced her way. Well, I do care. Sue me. But his usual unearned confidence and certainty was dampened. The road grew narrower and the trees pressed in, creating tunnels of bare branches overhead. Occasionally a sharp pop of static broke the silence. Autumn had drifted off to sleep. Claire pulled the blanket they'd brought and gently laid it over her beautiful sleeping friend's lap. She took a shaky breath. You remember the first time you saw her in that wheelchair? She asked quietly. We'd just come back from urgent care. You brought a pizza from that gas station place. Kyle nodded, eyes on the road. That was the same night the doc told you to give up trying for any real diagnosis, that we might be chasing something that doesn't exist, that Autumn is probably just depressed and this is all in her head. Claire's stomach twisted. Yeah, funny how it's the same vibe they give us in every hospital. She reached over and squeezed Autumn's shoulder gently. Autumn loves life. She wants to live, and there's so much joy and goodness in her, and I don't want the world to lose her, Kyle. What she has is real, but maybe it isn't something you can find with an MRI. Fair enough. Silence settled again. Kyle leaned forward over the wheel, nervously squinting at a bend in the road ahead. The truck's headlights flickered, then returned. They crested a small rise, and the truck rumbled onto a rutted stretch of dirt road. The hush in her mind grew loud, as though pressuring her ears. She could almost sense eyes hidden among the dead trees. Kyle slowed to navigate a dip, the engine groaning. Can't believe I'm doing this, Kyle muttered, flicking the headlights to high beams. Autumn awoke and typed, Claire's dad needs less time with an AR-15 and more time on an exercise machine. Although, from what I've seen, assholes live forever. They all shared a good laugh until Autumn was overtaken by a brutal coughing fit, leaving them in pained silence. Claire rubbed Autumn's knee and handed her a bottle of water. By now they were more accustomed to suffering than anything else. She closed her eyes briefly, letting a wave of grim determination fill her. We do what we must. The final stretch was marked by a fork in the road, the dirt path turning muddy. Kyle took the left side, guided only by her memory of the route. An iron fence loomed ahead, faint lights visible beyond it, though the shape of the property was lost in the gathering gloom. Kyle pulled the truck to a hesitant stop by the gate. He cut the engine, and the sudden silence roared in Claire's ears like a wave crashing. No crows, no wind, nothing. The hush pressed down. Last chance to turn around, he said. His hands stayed on the wheel, knuckles white. Claire unclipped her seatbelt, every muscle coiled. She let out a purposeful breath, nearly a silent warrior's roar. There is no turning back.